Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I have two daughters. Ava is 22 and Lily is 17. They have an amazing bond. And their mom left right after Lily was born, and Ava took on that role. Don't get me wrong, I didn't encourage it, and I didn't want her to grow up too fast, but Ava always viewed Lily as her baby. I have a stepdaughter, Rose, who is 16. We married 10 years ago, and honestly, we did not succeed at blending families. The girls absolutely hate each other, especially Ava and Rose. We have rules and consequences, so that shut down the worst of the fighting. But they refuse to interact unless absolutely forced. There is less fighting with Ava gone, but Lily and Rose don't even want to be in the same room, and we only see them on the night the other has extracurriculars. I feel bad about the whole situation. We are solid middle class, but Ava is rich. She has been extremely successful in a field she got into young, and I never touched her money, so she has accumulated massive savings and continues to kill it in her chosen field. I'm very proud, but it has caused some issues. Ava likes to take Lily on expensive trips and outings, which makes Rose jealous, and my wife gets angry on her behalf. Now, here's the issue at hand. Lily didn't get her license last year due to lack of time, motivation, because she was being treated for severe anxiety. She is now getting her license at the same time as Rose, and Ava wants to buy Lily a nice car. She is talking BMW or Mercedes. When she told me, I didn't have an issue, but my wife was very upset. She says it isn't fair to Rose, and I need to set clear boundaries with Ava about her favoritism and refusal to consider Rose family. Ava told Lily, and now Lily feels that if she doesn't get the car, I'm choosing my new family over her. Ava is furious and says no one has the right to force her to consider Rose and my wife her family. Rose cried and demanded I don't let Lily have the car. I have no idea what to do. Realistically, if I say no, she will still get the car in a year. No matter what I do, someone is going to be hurt. Whether or not Ava buys a car for Lily isn't going to change things much. OP's daughters are not going to magically accept Rose as their sister. My only advice is to talk to Ava about the car, so it's clear who's paying for the insurance, and find the best car for a young, inexperienced driver. The stepdaughter shouldn't have any part of this decision. Yeah, it sucks for her, but that doesn't mean OP should put her over Lily's happiness and Ava's generosity. Rose can't demand OP forbids Ava to buy a car for Lily. You can't demand things from people. Also, OP is not giving Lily the car. Her sister is giving her the car. OP's wife is also causing problems where no problems need to exist. For instance, what would her reaction be if Rose had a wealthy granny who gifted her an expensive car? Would she expect said granny to give a car to Lily as well? OP needs to stand up to his wife and tell her to stop making things difficult. She is out of line here. My husband and I have been married for 19 years. We have an 18-year-old daughter who has just gone off to college. We met in graduate school, and I always felt I matched with him intellectually and ambition-wise. I don't think I've ever considered myself anything more than averagely attractive, or above average if I dress up and put effort into my makeup. However, my husband has always said he was punching above his weight when comparing how well I take care of myself as opposed to him. I have done cross-country since I was a child and continue to run long distance on a daily basis. My husband has always said he admired how in shape I was. My husband has struggled with his weight throughout his life and is also insecure that he is slightly below average height. He's 5'8". As the years has gone by and he settled into a desk job lifestyle, he has continuously asked me to have larger size clothes made for him. As we entered our 40s, I have gained a little bit of weight, and my family tends to gray early, and I inherited that as well. My chest has also started to sag, and I have been sunscreening compulsively. However, overall, I don't think that I look that aged, except for a bit of crow's feet and laugh lines. My husband works in wealth management. He's put in many years with his firm, and over the past few years, a lot of the most senior people have begun retiring. One of them died of cancer, and the others do not really have kids in the business, so they started passing their books of business down to select few colleagues who have been at the firm for a very long time. Last year, one of my husband's mentors decided to officially retire. My husband was promoted to principal and got a huge raise, as well as a very lucrative book of clients. This all happened with great pomp and circumstance. We are all very happy for him, and he was doing a very good job taking on his new executive role. He started to buy a lot of new things and say that it's to reward all those years of hard work. He seemed more confident and started losing weight and dressing better than he's ever dressed. He started eating at a lot of expensive restaurants and would claim to go to bars late at night to meet with colleagues or clients. Overall, he just spent a lot more money around alcohol and going out at night. He initially would buy me things as well and tell me to treat myself, but that tapered off. I work as a staff writer for a local publication and have always insisted on contributing to all expenses, but now I'm making peanuts compared to his salary. He now criticizes me spending any of his money, even though I spend in my non-essential expenses what I could afford on my salary alone. The rest of my treat purchases are usually for the entire family to enjoy. My daughter posted a picture saying she's proud of her successful dad on Instagram, and then my husband started getting random messages from random women flirting with him. These are mostly women in their 20s and early 30s, and my husband would accept all their message requests and banter back and forth with them. When I told him that made me uncomfortable, he would look me up and down and say, "Stop being paranoid. We have mutual friends and stuff in common I wanted to talk to them about." When we'd go out to events, I would be talking to my husband, and women would cut in sometimes, walk physically between us, often deliberately turning their backs to me, and start striking up a conversation with my husband. One of his long-term clients' wife pulled me aside and told me that she thought it was bordering on inappropriate to see how flirtatious he was with two of the office's newer employees. Now my brother-in-law has been saying he is annoyed at my husband, bragging about how a new investor relations person, 23 female, he had met at a conference, was so smart and beautiful and flirts with him. He said he brags that she used to do beauty pageants and modeled in college. Let us call her Cora. My brother-in-law says my husband's personality has become Cora is impressed by this and that. I confronted my husband on it, and he threw his hands up and said that he apologizes if he came off as bragging, but that Cora has always been his type. He threw his hands up and said he couldn't help it. She was a legitimate actual model, and she was coming on to him. He does business with her boss and sees her occasionally. He sighed and admitted that he is hung up over the fact that he never thought women who looked like Cora would be flirting with him and that they were his type. I started crying and saying thanks because Cora was the exact opposite of how I looked. My husband's way of comforting me was to say that he thought I would be beautiful, but asked why I spend so much time working out to look good, but never considered breast implants. He said that me going to the gym was eventually going to make me look buff, and I had complained about my breasts after I gave birth, and now we have the money to fix it. I started to protest, and he sighed and said that at least I could go see a doctor at a medical spa that his friend's wife, who is an aesthetic nurse, says is popular and it wouldn't be a crime to do Botox or the liquid facelift that his friend's wife was talking about. He said, if we can afford it, why not look the best? What do I do? I feel myself getting more desperate by the day with my increasingly distant husband. I almost feel like I'm turning into some kind of cliché and sometimes sit in front of the mirror and imagine how much Botox it would take for me to actually reverse the aging process or to make me transform like the advertised before and afters with celebrities. I do not know what I can do to make my husband feel satisfied with our marriage again. Sounds like a mid-age crisis to me. And also, of course, he's an a-hole. OP should not get an operation. She should get a new husband. He seems to be the type who dates what he can afford, and now he can afford anything. He also has a history of insecurity. This man is trouble. My wife's sister, her husband, and 2 teenage daughters came over to stay with us for a few weeks while they're renovating their house. Our son is away in college, so we put my nieces in his room, and my in-laws in the attic, which has a big sofa bed in it. There's no bathroom in the attic or in our son's room, but there's a bathroom in the second floor that they all can use. The problem we had is that none of them liked using the second floor bathroom and would only use my wife's and I ensuite bathroom in our bedroom. We made it very clear from the first day that we have no problem with them staying over, but there were some boundaries that had to be respected in order for us to get along and not get on each other's faces. We told them our bedroom and our bathroom were off limits because that's our private space. They ignored this and started using our bathroom. On the very first day, I went to use my bathroom and saw poo floating in it. I let it go because I thought it was a mistake, but they kept using our bathroom and mistakes kept happening. We kept finding unflushed poops, unflushed pees, and sanitary items inside the toilet. Apparently, this is common for them. It kept going on for a solid week. My wife and I tried to keep the peace at home. We thought we had to be the bigger person and try to work it out so we could all be under the same room without K each other. But still, they kept using our toilet and denying it. When confronted, they had the nerve to play the victim and say we were making them feel like they were a trouble for us and they'd never disrespect our house rules. Yesterday, one of my nieces calls me over and says something's up with our toilet, that it's clogged and I should fix it. I go over there and see 2 bloody pads clogging the toilet, so I told her to pull them out. She started crying and screaming that I was her because I was forcing her to touch something where everybody was doing their business. My in-laws came running when they heard her scream and started saying, "What the duck is my problem? Why can't I just pay for a plumber to come fix it instead of making their daughter do it herself?" I reached breaking point and told them to get the duck out. They aren't fit to live with others. They're ducking pigs and never flushing their own crap, and asked if they have a scat fetish and get off on my wife and I having to find their crap in our toilet. They got very offended, and we got into a screaming match, but I tried to collect myself. I had a stroke last year, and told them to just get the duck out. Now the rest of the family is blaming me because they have to pay for a hotel for the 4 of them for at least 1 month until they can move back into their house. So apparently, it's my fault they're going to run out of money. Not that any of them is offering them their house, though. Last night, I sent my brother-in-law a text demanding he pays the plumber's bill for unclogging the toilet, but he refused, saying I kicked them out of my house, causing them to spend the rest of the little money they had in a hotel, plus food for 4 people, for at least a month. Not only that, but he had the nerve to say I should reimburse him the money he has to spend on a hotel and food now, because they didn't count on having to spend any money while they would have been at our house, and this is setting them back a lot. In no world am I going to pay him any money when his entire family is the ones who ducked up. Plus, they've pitted my wife's side of the family against us, particularly me. I've been getting texts from them belittling me and telling me how horrible I am. I want to take it to small claims court out of principle, but maybe I'd be taking it too far. My wife says it's time to go no contact with her family, and I support her, but I'm afraid she might regret it in the future if she cuts out her whole family. Her family is not very all there, but it's her family. How can we deal with this? OP described them accurately. Pigs. Definitely no contact.